In this video, you're going to discover the shocking difference between traditional sales language, the language you might be currently using, versus seven-figure sales language, the new model of selling for our era that we live in today. Now, one of the biggest causes of you getting rejected and objections always thrown at you by your potential customers is the languaging that you've learned from traditional selling techniques. Your words that you use and how you use them can trigger sales resistance from your prospects from the first moment they meet you, from the moment they answer your call, from the moment they read your emails and your text messages. How do your potential clients react to and treat you when you say the following? We have a solution that you really need to take a look at, or we can get the contract written up for you right away, or other companies in your industry have bought our solution. You should consider doing the same thing as well. How about this one? Sign the contract and we'll get you started. Or, I can follow up with you tomorrow or the next day, which is better for you. How about this one? When do you have 2 minutes this week where we can talk about what we can do for your business? Okay, whose name should the contract be in, yours or your wife's? I want you to think about it. What usually happens when you say these things in your sales pitch or your presentation? That's right. You're usually met with resistance or pushback from most of your potential customers. Why? Because today's consumer does not want to be talked at and sold. They want to be asked and understood. The traditional sales language that you keep using leads your prospects to label you with the negative stereotype of being the dreaded salesperson, trying to sell them something that they don't want, they don't need, they can't afford, or they can get cheaper somewhere else. When you use these type of words, you're automatically fighting an uphill battle, and selling for sure will be a numbers game for you. You will have to call 70 or 100 calls just to make 1 or 2 sales. But do you really want to do all that work just to make a sale? This makes it almost impossible for your potential customers to relate to you with trust or to be honest with you and have an open conversation about their situation and problems and what they're looking to do. Imagine just for a moment, just imagine that your prospect was just your friend. How would your language change? What if instead of you focusing on making the sale, you instead detached yourself from the expectations of making the sale and instead focused on your prospect's problems to see if you could actually help them? Now let's take a look at how the seven-figure salesperson would language the exact same statements. For the first statement, let's take a look at the document. He would say, or she would say, you know, Mr. Jones, I might have a solution that could possibly help you, but first, let me ask you more about. Notice the word might. It's neutral. We always want to stay neutral in our conversations. Never excited, never negative, but neutral. Now, we would replace the other wording with, you know, Mr. Jones, really the next step would be, with your permission, is we would come up with some type of an agreement on terms that we discussed. And at that point, we can get you started if you feel comfortable with that. Would that be appropriate? Notice you ask for their permission and ask if it's appropriate to go to the next step. I will tell you, when you are open with your potential customers, a magical thing happens. They trust you and they open up to you. Now we're going to replace traditional sales language with this. You know, Mr. Jones, we do have several companies in your industry that we work with, but I'm not quite convinced that you should go with this yet. It actually might be appropriate if we find out a little bit more about your company and what you're looking for to see if we could help you. For example, can you tell me more about? Now, this shows the potential customer that your concern is for them, not you just making the sale. This will automatically build instant attraction and trust with every potential customer you deal with. Now, when we talk about contracts, we never want to use the word contract because no one wants to sign a contract, right? But they're okay with authorizing agreements. So we would instead language it this way. Mr. Jones, the next step would be is to authorize the agreement and make some type of arrangement for your payment. Then at that point, we can get you started if you'd like. Would that be appropriate? See how soft that is, how neutral that is. No sales pressure. There's trust there automatically. We're also going to replace this. If you're trying to set an appointment, we're going to replace traditional languaging with seven-figure languaging. I should be able to tomorrow after 1. Would it be appropriate for us to touch base then? Just a very simple conversational question diffuses any sales pressure to set the next appointment. Here's another one. Jane, would you feel comfortable if we touched base later this week to see if we could actually help you? I should be available Thursday after 2 if that works for your schedule. Would that work? Very simple, very soft. When we talk about contracts, we're going to replace the word contract with agreement. Mr. Jones, do you want your agreement to be in your name or your wife's, or what would be appropriate? Very simple. It's the same question, but in a different way. With seven-figure languaging, you're basically saying the same thing. You're asking the same question, but you're saying and asking it in neutral language, meaning you're not assuming the sale, which triggers sales resistance in your sales conversations. I can almost promise you, when you let go of your excitement and your enthusiasm about making the sale and replace with neutral languaging, your potential customer will automatically look at you as a trusted authority and advisor, and will always tell you the truth and put trust in you, because for the first time in a long time, someone, which is you, is genuinely interested in them and what they're looking for, instead of trying to stuff their solution down their throat. This is what a seven-figure salesperson asks. I want to thank you for watching this video about the shocking difference between traditional sales languaging, the language you might be currently using, versus seven-figure sales language, which is the new model of selling for our era that we live in today. Now in the next video, you're going to learn how to listen your way to multiple 6 figures and 7 figures a year in selling. You're going to learn specifically one of the top 4 principles of listening that 99.9% of all salespeople have no clue about, that will attract your prospects to you like a magnet.